I'm Jaden Jefferson. I spoke with City Councilman Larry Sykes to get his take on police reform and what legislation that he's hoping to pass in Toledo City Council. Councilman Larry Sykes, thanks for joining me. What legislation are you proposing that deals with police reform?
Well, I've proposed several. Obviously, the bar the chokehold is one, and that any officer that is there have to intervene or will be perceived as an accomplice. I've recently proposed a no-knock, and that ban the no-knock, and that every officer has to wear a camera that is engaging a citizen.
How exactly will no-knock warrants be executed if your reform passes?
Well, I think they will be executed the same way, getting permission from a judge. But I think what we're looking at is a higher standard. Unless there's an individual that has shot several people, there's a large-scale drug operation. There's no children or senior citizens in the house, and that we know for a fact that the individual that they are looking for is in the facility.
What would be the benefits of having additional body cameras for officers?
Well, there's a couple of things. As you know, from Rodney King in 1992, there were body cameras on, and there was 12, 13 officers beating him with their batons. And we were told that he was resisting arrest. But from the body cams, we saw that he was defenseless. So more body cams, more different positions will help not only to protect the police officers. And one say, well, I didn't hit him. I wasn't part of this. But also will protect the police if the citizens say they did something that they didn't do. But on the other hand, it'll also, there's camera rolling, and that there's a liability, there's consequences to your action, and you're unbecoming an officer in this particular case. And we have more body cameras, we have more phones that are out there now, and everybody is seeing more. And it's bringing this to a head that, there are some rogue officers out there, regardless if a camera's rolling or not, they don't care. Obviously, with the George Floyd situation. So, putting in perspective is that, okay, you have a body camera on to protect yourself and to protect the city. Because if an officer, Mr. Jeffries, does something wrong, there's a lawsuit, guess who pays? The city of Toledo. And when people talk about defunding the police department, if we would stop these police officers from doing things that they know is wrong and breaking the law, we could take monies from that $4 million risk management fund and put it into better programs.
Well, how as a whole has City Council dealt with police reform, in your opinion?
I think they're very positive for the most part. The chokehold passed 12-0. The intervention for another officer on the scene passed 12-0. I think my two upcoming legislation will also pass. Sam Meldon put a piece in for a Bureau of Civil Board Review. There's going to be some discussion because it involves money. Mine doesn't involve money for the most part, other than cameras. Nick Comise has put in for a piece that require every officer to have cards. You would know, but most cases when African Americans or individuals in particular are stopped by police, the trauma they face and the fear they face, they don't look for a badge, they don't ask for a name or look for the number on the car. When you're engaging a person and potentially getting ready to arrest that person, you ask for ID, then they should also be able to ask for ID also.
What is your plan to hold officers accountable?
Well, there's a lot of things out there. Some cities have gotten to the point where you don't have your camera on. You could be suspended or terminated because it's obstructing justice. Some cities are looking and have terminated individuals that have went in and shot people unjustifiably. We can look at a number of things. I think the unions should be a part of this. And I say a part of this since they're there to protect the officers. If the city has to establish a risk fund, then maybe the union should establish a risk fund. Not just the city taxpayers paying, but also the union paying also. And, you know, there's a penalty. If an officer shoots someone and is show irresponsibility on his part or excessive power, then maybe they should go after his 401k or if he should be fired. There's a lot on the table.
How have you been interacting with activists in our community? Because I know a lot of people are very upset with what's happening with the local police department and on the national level. So how have you reached out to those people?
Well, we all have our parts, and the activists are doing their part, and I am doing my part. You have, and I think it's great, a wave of young people that are motivated. Unlike the civil rights movement, majority was African Americans. We have a plethora of white, Asians, Hispanics in the movement today. I think when you talk about cameras, understand that the civil rights movement didn't take off until people saw what the camera showed, the water hose and the dogs. That's when people sit back and said, you know, this is unacceptable. I tell you a funny story. My granddaughter was at the store, at the mall with her grandmother, and she wanted to go this way, and my wife was saying, come, Gia, I want you to go here. We're going here. And I'm going over here. She said, don't make me grab you, little girl. My 7-year-old said, you know, there's cameras everywhere. Once you realize that cameras everywhere, you're more apt to do the right thing.
And that's for the body cams plan, if I'm correct.
Correct.
What prominent African-American leaders have you spoken with? Because a lot of people, specifically in the African-American community, have felt left out of this discussion, but they're finally starting to get more attention and be part of these meetings. Who have you spoken with, and what progress have you made?
And speaking, I speak with the African-American community and the leaders all the time. I speak to the white leaders in the community. I speak with the Hispanic communities leaders. I have 40 plus years or more of relationships with these people in corporate America, in the community, in the church. So I bounce a lot of stuff off of them.
How have activists reacted to this new legislation? Did they think it went far enough in that sense?
Most cities around the country is moving in this direction. This is a tidal wave that's coming. The unions and the individuals that are against this historically wanted to protect bad officers. You need to get out of the way or they're going to be washed away. I think that the timing is right to make some changes, and these changes are coming forth, and even more so with every day you look at this movement has been going on almost 30 days. That's unheard of for the most part. I'm talking even under the coronavirus pandemic, people are out and they're mad about this. So there's a change coming.
Councilman Larry Sykes, thanks for joining me.
My pleasure, and you're great.